Hello there, I'm Paul Browning, and it's my sincere desire to help you look forward to a much better life on release from prison. Now, like the introduction that you've just seen, I'm going to show you how to make a permanent transition from prison into meaningful employment and close, loving relationships. In fact, any goal you can set for yourself can be realised with this Thinking into Freedom programme. Now, perhaps you're thinking, I've never served a prison sentence, and perhaps you never have, but you find yourself in a mental prison with no real hope for the future, and you've become a prisoner of your own thoughts. Millions of people are faced with challenges every day. People out there are faced with the challenge of unemployment, homelessness, debt, which all leads to strained relationships and in many cases ill health. And just the struggle of making ends meet in this fast and ever-changing world is a big problem for many people. Well, I've got some really good news for you. This Thinking into Freedom programme really is your passport to success. This is your passport to permanent freedom. Now, there are three elements I want to discuss. Three elements or components to this Thinking into Freedom programme. We have a book called The Story of Stuart and Frank, How You Can Achieve the Results You Really Want. We have a workbook, which is your personal workbook. Wear it out. You'll love it when you get a copy of it. And the DVD that you're watching right now. Now, before we start lesson one, I just want to take a couple of minutes to suggest how you can get the very best out of this programme. The real benefit of this Thinking into Freedom programme is that it contains three components. The first of these is the story of Stuart and Frank, how you can achieve the results you really want. This is your owner's manual for living the kind of life you richly deserve, a life of health, wealth and true happiness. Everything you will ever need to know to turn failure into success is contained in this book, and I suggest that you get into the habit of reading this every day. Now, I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce you to Stuart and Frank. Stuart and Frank are the two central characters in the story of Stuart and Frank. Stuart consistently produced the results that he wanted day in and day out, and I invite you to allow Stuart to be your role model to transform your results. Now, at the same time, learn from the mistakes of Frank and move on. You're going to learn what it is that separates a winner like Stuart from a loser like Frank. And by applying the simple principles in this book, you too will become a winner, not just now and then, but consistently. The second component of this powerful programme is the Thinking into Freedom workbook. Now, on page 3 of the workbook, it tells you how to get the best out of this programme. Read this through. Really get involved with the exercises and think of where you are and where you want to go. Complete these exercises and don't put them off. Literally wear this book out. The third component of this powerful Thinking into Freedom programme is the DVD collection. A superb collection of 8 DVDs, which correspond to the 8 lessons in your Thinking into Freedom workbook. Watch them over and over again, as this will rapidly assist you to understand and apply these ideas to transform your life and transform your results. Now, if you've not attended a live Thinking into Freedom workshop before, and this material is new to you, then I suggest you spread the lessons over an 8-week period. So, for example, for week 1, you would first of all read lesson 1 from the Thinking into Freedom workbook. Then play lesson 1 DVD. Then read the assigned chapters from the story of Stuart and Frank. Now, I'll just point out there are none for lesson 1, but there are assigned chapters to read in lessons 2 through to 8. Then come back to the Thinking into Freedom workbook and complete the instructions and any exercises outlined in lesson 1. Then simply repeat the above sequence for lessons 2 through to 8. If you've attended a live Thinking into Freedom workshop whilst in prison, well, Just keep on going over and over this material. Remember, repetition, repetition, repetition is the first law of learning. So, whatever your circumstances are right now, if you are totally committed to making changes for the better in your life, this Thinking into Freedom program shows you how. So right now I'm going to have a change of clothes, I'm going to have a quick cup of tea and a couple of chocolate digestives, so just give me a couple of minutes and I'll look forward to meeting you again in Lesson 1, Setting and Achieving Creative Goals. Hello, this is Paul Browning, and it's my privilege to talk to you about what I passionately believe is the most powerful program that's able to change your attitude and behaviour faster than anything else that I've ever seen. Now, before we start this particular lesson, which is setting and achieving creative goals, I just want to go back a few years to explain what my life was like round about the turn of the 1990s. Let's talk about the importance of goals, but let's also look at the kind of goals that we must avoid at all cost. First of all, why do we need a goal in life? Is that a question that you've ever asked yourself? Do you think, just thinking about this for a few moments, that if you have had a goal earlier in your life to achieve something worthwhile for you and maybe for your loved ones, and I want you to understand this, that success is something you can have right now whilst in prison. If you used to say that to some of your friends or some of your mates, they'd probably laugh. Probably best keep this to yourself for now. Because you'll come to understand that as you go through this Thinking into Freedom program, your belief and your passion for this information is going to grow, it's going to flourish, and it's going to get to a point where you, perhaps for the first time in your life, are going to be in control of you. I'm going to show you how you can create motivation beyond your wildest dreams. Even whilst you're in the situation you're in right now, over these next few lessons, we're going to show you how you can have a mental switch and you can turn on your motivation to feel absolutely wonderful, even though you're in these four walls.